Welcome to a special edition of JMC Live. I am your host, Jeremy Caverly. Today we're going to have an interview with Jennifer Case. She was in the sex industry for 15 years, and by the grace of God, pulled her out and has placed her on solid ground. She's currently working with the Pink Cross as a missionary. For those who aren't familiar with the Pink Cross, they help those involved in the sex industry. They help those that are involved in pornography, have porn, sex issues, marital problems. They are all over the place when it involves sexual activities and trying to keep them in a godly manner. Now, as I mentioned, Jennifer comes from a background where things happened in her life that led her up to the direction and personal choice of getting involved in the sex industry. I want to welcome you, Jenny, and thank you for being on the show today. Can you?
Thank you for having me.
Let's start at the beginning. I don't know how far back you want to go, but can you tell us just a little bit of the background that led you to getting involved in making porn in the sex industry? I know you said stuff about stripping, and then later you got involved in film. How did all this happen?
Well, honestly, I actually grew up in the church some. My grandpa was a Pentecostal preacher, a Southern Pentecostal preacher from Kentucky. So I did grow up in the church some and got saved when I was 9. I was doing okay until I was a teenager, and I was about 14 years old, and just, didn't have a very good home life at that point with my mom and my stepdad. So I ended up, at 14 years old, I lost my virginity to the boy next door, and then he broke up with me shortly after and broke my heart, and I ran away from home and ended up being in institutions from the time I was 14 till I was 17. So I was in and out of institutions and foster homes, youth shelters and things like that, because of I was a ward of the state of Indiana at for those years, for my teen years.
Mm-hmm.
And I got into some bad crowds and hung out with some bad kids. So that set me up, to get into the sex industry. I started stripping when I was 18, and that's how I began getting into the sex industry.
So by having a bad childhood leading towards the different families that you went through, and then going from there to the different institutions, probably on and off different types of medications and different things, you were pretty much looking for work but wasn't finding work, and then you finally decided to start working at the strip club. At what point did the stripping turn into making film?
Well, I was barely 18 when I started all this, so I was, I didn't have any skills. I didn't have anyone to help me and take care of me or teach me really any skills. I, just didn't know how to make it on my own. I was introduced to this easy way of making money. It seemed glamorous. It seemed fun. And they love young women. They love it in that business. So they take advantage of them. And usually they come from broken homes like me. So I saw the money. I saw that the porn was going to pay a lot of money. Someone told me to get into that. And I just, next thing I know, I'm in Las Vegas, barely 18 years old, straight from Indiana, small town in Indiana. And there I was in Las Vegas, signing autographs at this porn convention and doing porn movies and things like that.
So once you got into the porn industry, what finally made you decide to want to just continue doing this? Because I've talked to other men and women that their first film and their first few months in is a big shock and awe, and people turn to drugs and alcohol or cutting or other forms of bodily harm to just deal with the matter. How did you deal with the day in, day out abuse to your body?
Oh, well, just the common, normal porn star behavior, which was drugs, I did get into drugs. I did get into things like acid, ecstasy, mushrooms, and then my drug of choice became marijuana. That was my favorite drug for a long time. So I pretty much smoked that a lot for many, many years.
Mm-hmm.
When I turned 21, I also added alcohol to that. So that's how I would cope with the pain that this so-called job was causing me every day. Eventually it just wasn't working anymore, though.
Yeah, I bet it was, and I've talked to other people saying that parts of their body would fall out, things would not properly function anymore. Some people would go days without sleep, some people would sleep too much, because the average porn star wasn't someone who worked every single day, but you would be on the set for, 8 to 12 hours at a time, doing multiple scenes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you would get on the set, early in the morning, and sometimes you wouldn't leave until, 5 in the morning that day. It'd be, 24 hours sometimes, and it's very hard lifestyle.
So as this lifestyle continued to progress in your life and things continued to spiral downward with different drugs and alcohol, marijuana, acid, ecstasy, anything else you could get your hands on, and it wasn't that hard for you as a porn star to get that, because most of the time they already have tracks of coke for people to snort, and they'd have beer and
I never really bought anything. It was always there.
Yeah.
Or you have boyfriends that provide it for you, or friends. It's everywhere. You don't. It's not. It's always in your face, and even if you wanted to quit, you wouldn't be able to because it's constantly in your face.
Mm-hmm. So what finally led you to the point where you couldn't take anymore?
Well, I had tried to get out of the sex industry. I did anything and everything that had to do with sex. I did dominatrix work, I did stripping, bachelor parties, strip clubs, topless dancing, I did prostitution, I did porn, I did it all, anything and everything just to make money. Eventually, I didn't want to do it anymore, and, I would quit and get a regular job for a little bit, and then the money just wasn't coming in like it used to. And I would get a paycheck and see the paycheck and think, well, I can make this in an hour. Why am I even doing this anymore,
Mm-hmm.
But things, it was many, many years of that, back and forth and everything, just trying to survive, before I actually hit the very bottom, and I just when I thought I couldn't get worse, it got a lot worse, and what happened was I pretty much lost everything. I was going to be homeless. I didn't have anywhere to live, and I was divorced, and I was in, my early 30s, and just didn't, things weren't going well at all, and I just was in a bad, dark place. And, I said, you know what, I'd rather be homeless than ever sell my body again. You sell your soul when you're doing this, and you don't have any soul left to sell. There's really nowhere to go but up, So I just, by calling out to God every night for 2 weeks, I didn't know what else to do but to ask Him for help. I had no other choice, so called out to God, and the funniest thing happened. I ended up finding Shelley Lubin online. I was clicking around on the internet one day, just desperate, searching for answers, and oh gosh, I just came across this thing that said ex-porn star, the Shelley Lubin. So I click on that, and it takes me to her page online, and I'm just wondering, who is this person? Because I thought I was the only ex-porn star. I didn't know any other ex-porn stars,
Mm-hmm.
And watched her testimony. It touched my heart. I just cried and got a hold of her, and she helped me to finally get out of business and stay out.
So since you brought up the Pink Cross, and
well, yeah, back then Pink Cross hadn't started yet. It was just Shelley Lubin by herself.
Mm-hmm.
Shortly after that, the Pink Cross got started.
Oh yeah. So tell me the experience of hanging out with Shelley. How did she help you get out of the industry? What did she do for you?
Well, basically, I contacted her, I emailed her, and I said, I got to talk to you on the phone, and she called me up, and she said, "Are you ready to get out for really?" Because some of these girls say they are, but they're really not. And I told her my story. I told her how I was in this, god-awful situation. And she said, "Oh, yeah, you're ready to get out." And so she, basically set me up with some resources and some support, which is very important, is the support, and a church in my area and things like that, and kind of told me to write my story and post it online so people could see what I'd been through and how God's going to turn that around. And so I did all that, and really, haven't looked back since. It just ran the other way and it's just never stopped. So.
Wow. So, tell me how your life has been since you've gotten out of the porn industry. You are now, we know, working as a missionary with the Pink Cross. How long have you been out of the industry?
I've only been out for like 3 or 4 years. I was living in Colorado, and I was going to church out there and doing Bible study and things like that, just surrounding myself with the right people, getting support, and learning about God and reading the Bible, and just all that stuff. I was recovering from. It's traumatic, so it takes a long time. It takes a long time to recover from all that, right? So
yeah.
I've just been recovering myself. I'm still in recovery, honestly. I'm still healing from all of this, and it takes time, and only God can do that. But now God has put it on my heart to move here to Bakersfield, California, and help reach out to women that are in the same situation that I was in.
Mm-hmm.
That at the time. I enjoy talking to them and giving them hugs and just telling them God loves them and just letting them know they don't have to do this. There's another option. Once you let go of that money and you're not a slave to the dollar anymore, it's easy to quit.
Yeah, I had a feeling that money is a big contributor towards who is actually involved in this.
It's like a hook, it's kind of like the bait and the hook, and the money is kind of like the bait, but then you get hooked and then you can't get away, so.
And if it's not the money, then it's the drugs. It's one way or the other.
Uh-huh.
I've seen it happen too many times, especially down here in southern Ohio. We have a lot of people that are down in Portsmouth, and they're getting involved in prostitutions, and a little bit further up here in Pike County, we're known as like the biggest, one of the top. We were on the news the other day about being one of the top drug trafficking areas, and that's hand in hand with sex trafficking too. So, and it's right there off of the river.
Yeah, I kind of know that area.
Mhm. So, tell me a little more about what does the Pink Cross do? I mean, you are currently a missionary with the Pink Cross, and I know you guys, you'll make care packages for porn stars and those struggling looking at porn. There's a website and a forum people can sign up and discuss problems. And I know that you go to people in the strip clubs and to porn events. Can you elaborate a little bit on that for us?
Sure. I mean, basically, the Pink Cross Foundation was started by Shelley Lubin, who's an ex-porn star, who came to Christ and decided to reach out to women and men, that are anyone affected by porn or the sex industry, really. And it's basically set up to let these women know that there's there's somebody there to help them when they're ready to get out. But we do so many different things. Like you said, you have the care packages we send out. We get emails all the time from these women that want to get out and hard time. They all go through the same thing. It all sounds like my story and her story and everyone else's. So I go in and I get like a box or package. I put in a Bible. I put in some CDs. We put in like jewelry, cosmetics, bookmarks. I like to give them a little card, just a little care package to let them know we care, and some resources. And all kinds of information for them, and let them know that we love them, and we send that to them. And when they're ready to get out, we're there to help them and to give them resources and support and love. I mean, the support, it goes a long way. And, sometimes just little things can really help you. When I was in recovery, Shelley would send me a little card in the mail. And I would just have the worst day, and I'm, struggling. It's really hard to leave that business and stay out. And I would just have a rough day, and I would get this card in the mail, and I would think, she understands me. She knows what I'm going through. And she would say, don't quit, don't give up. We love you, God loves you, and so that kept me going. Things like that really do help.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I realize. If a lot of people, particularly looking at the Bible with the woman and the casting of the stones, our current day society does not have proper programs for those struggling with masturbation, looking at porn, or if you are in the sex industry. I know in the metro cities outside of California, and practically almost all of California and elsewhere where they make porn, because for those who don't realize it, porn is made outside of California in the United States, whether you want to believe it or not.
Yeah, it's made everywhere in the world.
Porn stars go to church, and then they go and perform when they leave church. So, and then the reason why a lot of porn stars don't quit is because they don't feel comfortable telling anyone. Majority of the ministry world is run by men, and women are not going to feel comfortable telling a man, I struggle with fill in the blank. And this is why the Pink Cross is stepping up to help the women. They are also there to assist men, too. There are men that have gotten out.
Like I said, anyone affected by porn, men, women, children, people of all ages, people all over the world send us emails and stuff all the time. Mm-hmm.
So, since I brought that up, what advice do you give to the men and women out there that struggle with masturbation or struggle with looking at porn, premarital sex, or for those of you that are in the middle of middle of affairs or anything else going on?
Yeah.
What advice do you have for those?
For those people that are struggling with that? Well, that it seems to be a problem in our country, and the first thing is, we live in a porn culture, and it's very hard to deal with these things. And when it comes to problems like that, God can fix anything. You just have to let Him. You have to ask Him, and then you have to let Him to fix those problems. And whether it's if you're a single guy struggling with porn, or a married man, or even a woman that's having an affair, it doesn't matter. It's your drug. Sex can be a drug. Porn is a drug. And just like any other drug or food or gambling or alcohol, you have a void inside of you, and you're trying to fill it with porn or sex or whatever you're trying to fill it with. It's all the same. God can fill that void. Nothing else can. It might fill it temporarily, but you're going to be empty again, and it's never going to completely fill it all the time. But God can do that. And then once you allow that to happen, then you'll not struggle so much anymore.
Yeah.
But it takes time,
Of course it takes time. It takes that first step of admitting that you're powerless on your own, in your own, because a lot of people try and stop this stuff, but they can't. And after admitting that you're powerless to this, admitting who has the power to take it away from you, and that's Jesus Christ.
Yes, that's right.
And I know there are people that have gotten out of porn and have done well and have done things, but if you talk to most of them, they still have that lingering over them. They still look at it, or they're not living differently. If you want complete freedom from all this stuff, you're going to need Jesus Christ. It's the only way you can get
It's not just God, but Jesus. Yeah, you're right. Jesus Christ, and it's the only way to. Honestly, that's how I got help, and I believe that's how anyone else can get help. So we're all the same.
Yeah. Now, to get a hold of you, I see that you have a blog page called Moment of Clarity. And this is the Moment of Clarity blog.blogspot.com. And I'm looking it over. She has a PayPal donation button. Because, like I said, she is a missionary. She's trying to raise money for all the work that she does, and and she's trying to raise money for a car. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Pink Cross, but another one of the Pink Cross members, Jan, she raised money for her school funds.
Yeah.
And I believe Jenny...
A car is going to help me to do my missionary work more. Say, like, okay, we have sometimes, maybe there might be, I'm in Bakersfield. There might be a girl down in Southern California in Los Angeles that needs someone to come help her, or meet with her, or come get her even. I can drive down there and go get her. Or, just anything that the mission, that the ministry needs, for me to do. If it involves a car, I don't have a car. I sold my vehicle in order to move here and help the Pink Cross. So God told me to do it, and He said that He would replace it once I got here. So I just have faith that it's going to happen.
Yeah, and like I said, if you guys want to donate to that, it's a PayPal account. And the email is coblonde, that's BLONDE 75 at AOL.com. And all that information, including Jenny's Facebook and more about her testimony and what she does with the Pink Cross, is at her momentofclarityblog.blogspot.com. All this information will be posted along with the podcast and the video that we'll be making.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jenny, I'd like to thank you for coming.
Oh, you're welcome. Do you have any other questions for me?
Oh, yeah. What is the future for you? I know that you're working with the Pink Cross. Do you have anything else that you have planned for yourself ministry-wise, or anything that you like the listeners to know?
I plan on continuing to do this, and I enjoy doing this. I'm very passionate about it. I'm not very good at writing. Some people say I am, but I don't really like to write. So I'm going to try to start doing a video blog soon. Not sure when that's going to happen. I'm really busy all the time. So, but I want people to know the truth about porn, and I want to expose the lies and let them know they don't have to get involved with it, and that there is hope, and that's Jesus. So. I'm just going to continue to do that and just keep going to these conventions and helping people, and also keep healing myself, keep letting Jesus heal my, past trauma from this industry. So.
Yes, I know it's a very difficult place to be when you have all these different things coming at you and attacking you. I hope that God will strengthen and guide you in the right path, and that you won't have anything else to worry about. And for your future, I know that God's going to bless you. And that website again is momentofclarityblog.blogspot.com, and the email for donation on PayPal is COBLONDE75 at AOL.com. I'd like to thank you for coming to JMC Live. God bless, and we'll see you soon.